Hello, HSC 2301 students, and welcome to Human Sexuality. I am so excited to have you all this semester. I think we're going to have a great journey together, and I think you'll enjoy having taken the class with this technological component as well. So I appreciate it. Sit back, enjoy the ride, and I'll take you through a little bit about how we're going to get started, how you'll do your work, and then some of the chapters and topics that we'll cover. A little bit about the class as far as the work that's concerned. We start off with looking at the history of sexuality. Obviously, sexuality has been around as long as humans, animals, and otherwise have been here. We're looking at human sexuality, and we'll start with the cultural and historical and research perspectives. Then we will move into Module 2, which is the female sexual anatomy and physiology. Very interesting. I think you'll learn quite a bit about both the female and male anatomy. And in Module 3, we go into the male anatomy. Don't feel left out, gentlemen. You get included as well. And do some really interesting discussions on some really great topics within those as well. Then we move on to human sexual arousal and response, which is just a really thorough chapter on that whole area of sexuality. And I think that's really where we kind of hit the ground running with a lot of our discussions. So I'm sure you'll enjoy it as we continue along. Then we go into some important chapters regarding reproduction, reproductive technology, and birthing. I recognize some of you have experience with birthing, so you can be our resident experts. I happen to have 4 children. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, boys, Caesar and Aurelius, and I have a 2-year-old girl, and I have a new baby who is 8 months old, boy, Michelangelo. My little girl's name is Maralisa. So I have multiple birthing experiences, and in putting together that chapter, I think you'll find some really great information that I've gathered to compile regarding the reproduction itself, which is just fascinating. Some animations from YouTube that are included in that'll take you through that, as well as through the birth process and on. The next one we look at is sexual orientation, identity, and behavior. We look at culture, we look at history of it, we look at current trends, we look at things that are in the news, we look at lots of issues and concerns that many people have, and so we'll delve into those topics. Then we go into the spectrum of human sexual behavior, which ranges from the things that you might read on the news to what you might think of as traditional, and everything in between. And in keeping with that perspective, I really want you to have an open mind. And you have to have an open mind to take a class like this. So I recognize you all came in with the perspective that you were here, ready to learn, and hopefully willing to see things and tackle things in a way that you probably haven't done before. I don't want you to be intimidated by some intense language at times. When we talk about the cultural perspectives and other things, some of the language may be strong to some of you in print, as well as I want you to be consciously aware of some of the images that you might see, as well as video. I try to be respectful of all people, and I usually try to give a bit of a disclaimer if there's something that you might be seeing that might take you off guard. We have a video, for example, of a couple engaging in intercourse inside of an MRI machine, which is really truly interesting from the perspective of looking at it through this scanned imaging. Certain things like that, and I'll try to be conscious and always give you a bit of a warning in case it gives you concern. Some of the other things that we look at are the last ones, which would be the sexual consent, coercion, and rape, as well as abuse. Which is kind of a depressing end to the semester, but we'll try to work through all of those issues as well with full thought and discussion on all of those because they're very important issues. So I hope that you sit back, get ready to enjoy this ride, and at the same time, I ask of you one thing. You cannot take a course like this if you come in with judgment in mind. I really ask you to wipe your slate clean of judgments you may have of others. Keep in mind, I'm not judging you. The things that you'll put in your journals, the things that you'll put in your emails to me, the things that you might uncover on the discussion board will stay private to me. If they're on the discussion board and the class sees them, keep in mind you have a class of peers. You will probably say things in here that I can guarantee you would never say in algebra class, and that's a wonderful thing. To keep the discussion going, we will treat this class like Vegas. What happens in Human Sexuality 2301 stays in Human Sexuality 2301. So I don't want things that are said within this class to be found that they were said outside of the class. I know I can expect that respectful perspective from you on the discussion board. Keep in mind also that what you may find gross or offensive, I always want you to sit back and ask yourself, why? Why do you think that? Because it's different than from what you consider normal. Always ask yourself that. The last thing is, before you speak, and in this discussion board or in classes or wherever we may meet, whenever you speak, be conscious of who's listening. I try to be. If there's something I think of as outside of the norm, it's not my place to judge. I'm not in a perspective where I have concerns about what other people are doing, except from a healthy and philosophical and looking at the theories behind this as well as perspective. But remind yourself that there are other people that do not think those things are outside of the norm. So just because you do doesn't make them something that should be okay for you to judge in a harsh way. I also don't want disrespect on the discussion board when it comes to sensitive topics. You will have people in this class that identify with lots of different areas of the course that you may not. And just because you don't doesn't mean it's all right to be slanderous or bashing of the other students. So now that I've gotten that depressing warning out of the way, I really do want you to enjoy this. I know you came in with an open mind, and I know you're ready to tackle this incredible class together. And we'll end this with, I'd like to give you just an idea of how the chapters will start to look. So as you go in, the first thing I ask you to do is go into the Introductory Learning module. There's an area where you can click on the course where it tells you to, inside the Introductory Learning modules, you can click on the area that does a check for your web browsers, and there's an introduction there. And then there's an introductory discussion post. Your discussion posts are not found under discussion board on the left. That's been removed. They're within each individual module. So click on your discussion post. Give us your 2 lies and a truth there. I've given you mine. You can tell me what you think. And introduce yourself as well and give us a great introduction. I look forward truly to reading those. And then we will be off and running. And then from there, you will usually have things in your modules that would be voiced over PowerPoints. You also have my notes from the chapter. You have an outline of what are some of the objectives from the chapter that we're looking at. Of course, you'll read the chapter. There's a quiz. And then usually I have a discussion post. Sometimes it's a journal as well. Sometimes you might create a wiki with your classmates. Sometimes you might do some kind of a group activity. So there's lots of different things and components that are inside each module. But when the modules close, they won't be reopened, and they close on their due date. And I give you ample time to complete those modules. So I hope you stay with us, and you look forward to this semester as much as I do. If I can be of help for you at any point during the semester, please reach out and ask me. That's why I'm here. You can ask me through email, through within Blackboard. You can also email me at my Palm Beach State email address, and that's perfectly fine too. I'm welcome for phone calls or chats if you'd like to chat. We could FaceTime or Skype, whatever may work for you, and I'm happy to try and fit you in if you're struggling. If anything comes up, please reach out to me. If you have concerns, please reach out to me. If you find someone doing something inappropriate or saying something inappropriate on the discussion board or contacting you inappropriately, reach out to me. That's why I'm here. So I hope you keep that in mind. Wonderful wishes to you all, and looking forward to an awesome semester together.